Got a couple here now. Give it a few more seconds here. Hit that like button for me, guys. I'd sincerely appreciate that. This is a major update. We are here with the homeowner, Mr. Pritchard. Say hello, Mr. Pritchard.
Good evening, everyone.
All right, and we've got a major update. As you can see before you here, there is an eviction scheduled for the very same address on August the 29th. We've been following this story and Mr. Pritchard's situation very closely for quite some time now, and we've recently published, I think, 2 updates to go along with the short, which is up to over 300,000 views. There is a lot of eyes on this situation across America and throughout Connecticut, and we encourage you to share the links to this man's situation and to this story. There is a long form version of this situation, which can also be found in the community section. I'm going to be making a post later after this live stream with all the information you guys will need to get your heads around this situation and prepare for Monday's live stream. We will be going live on Monday, August the 29th, to capture the events that are definitely going to unfold in probably a very egregious way, one way or another, for one party or another. And without further ado, I'm going to shut my mouth now, and Mr. Pritchard is going to take us all to school and give us all the insight and education we need on this situation. Go ahead, Mr. Pritchard.
First, I want to just give a little background so some people understand what's going on. Real quick, on May 31st, there was an attempt to evict myself and my family from our house. That was shut down because of certain things weren't done properly with the eviction process, just even in terms of proper procedure, so forth and so on. And they had to skedaddle out of here. And that was that. And it was even noted in a police report, so forth and so on. On August 15th, I went in and helped represent somebody who can't speak English very well, broken English, in a foreclosure where they're basically being the house has been seized from them, and everything about it, all the documents are fraudulent. That's the Acampo family, Juan Acampo, and that was in Stamford Superior Court. That was August 15th. The judge that you'll learn about that case and hear the actual testimony when I get it. I want to give it to the Slayer here and let him play it for you, because it will blow your mind. It will horrify you when you hear it. Anyway, as of August 17th, 2 days later, all of a sudden, there were things filed in the housing court for my eviction again. This is retaliatory.
I think that's plausible to suggest. If I could just stop you for a real brief moment, I instinctively, knee-jerk reflex would have me believe, or even plausibly suggest, that is a retaliatory action. It seems to be the most plausible suggestion to me. We can't discount it anyway, the possibility,
Yeah.
and I'll leave it at that.
Yes. So the exact same forms with almost the exact same dates, signed by a clerk, an attorney clerk. He likes to say that he's an attorney too, Clerk O'Garo, who I've filed for his arrest without warrant, and I've also named him in the counterclaim, signed off on the documents to, quote, move forward. So he's not allowed to. He's lost all authority. And I believe that is based on Connecticut Practice Book Section 1-11, just so people know. Anyway, what you see here is on the front page of the notice. The next page you see, I'm going to light through these things so you guys can, I don't want to waste your time. The next page is just part of the notice also. You can see there's no date at the bottom. There's no date. The state marshal is a marshal named Bill Kemp. He's quite an aggressive guy. He's quite nasty. there's a video of from somebody else as to how he spoke to them. He was very threatening with me on the 17th or the 18th. He threatened me statements to the effect that they're going to run me right over, and some other things. Keep in mind, this
Wow.
peace officer. And by the way, just so everyone knows, state marshals are not employees of the state. They're private contractors. And they're supposed to be looking out for our constitutional rights and interests, believe it or not, which seems to be something that they completely ignore.
Folks, I just put a link to a video you can find on YouTube of this gentleman, or I don't know if we should call him a gentleman, of Bill Kemp, the Connecticut State Marshal.
Yes, he spoke to me much in the way that video portrays the day he spoke to me. I stayed calm, and I also let him know that if he set foot on my property, he would be trespassing, which he has done. And I told him there's a proper way to communicate with me, which has been stated and I will show you later in my trespassing sign and statement and everything else and notice that's been put out to everyone. I'd like to read this real quick because I think this is important and it'll get everyone in the right frame of mind for everything. This is something that I've read before. The Supreme Court has warned, because of what appear to be lawful commands on the surface, many citizens, because of the respect for what appears to be law, are cunningly coerced into waiving their rights due to ignorance. U.S. versus Minker. And the next one, the Supreme Court has ruled and has affirmed the principle that justice must satisfy the appearance of justice. So that's to really say, if it's obvious to somebody that it's absurd or unjust, it's unjust. And then, of course, one that a lot of people have been hearing now because of all the election stuff and so forth and so on, the U.S. Supreme Court has set a loud and clear precedent ruling that fraud vitiates everything. That was handed down in the landmark case, United States versus Throckmorton. We could go to the next page, please. This is just to remind those people, this is my house in 1995, which I bought on Valentine's Day, February 14th, 1995. That's one of my trucks with my buddies and I who had a construction company. That's Old Beast. And if you go to the next picture, that is what the house looked like in 2002. So over 7 years, we built onto it, changed it, tweaked it and everything else. And we've lived here 27 plus years. And if we can go to the next. Okay, I just want this, I'm trying to get across our powers and our rights and everything else. Property defines freedom. Our entitled rights defined as property enable clear separation of one individual from another by what they own. America's founders understood that property enabled commerce and prosperity, plus freedom for the people. Common law, state law, and the Constitution secure our entitled rights we already have from natural law. How it works. Power comes from God to the people. Then the people delegate defined power to representatives. When they step out of line, that power comes back to us, the people. The Federalist Papers stated specifically that the power of the people is superior to both the judicial and the legislative power. Summary. Secure and protected property defines freedom. This is very important because that's what this situation is about. And just to remind people who are new people that are coming, the dispute on my house is over $200,000. I own nothing on it. Everything's clear, free and clear. You'll see from stuff here that demonstrates that. But let's just say, just for argument's sake, that yes, I own $200,000. My house is worth $3.5 million plus. You cannot seize a man's home for $200,000 when it's worth $3.5 million. Another way to look at it for all those that are just focus on money and stuff and things like that, I'm the bank. I own 95% or more of my house. So right. All these laws that have been written in slanted and benefit of the bank, guess what? They actually work for me. And this is what has sent them absolutely nuts because the tables are turned and you can see all the dirty stuff that they've done. And this is why all these cases, it shows the pattern and it's racketeering. Now, what I'd like to read here is treason by a judge. Okay, just to put things in perspective. And this is important because a lot of people think judges are above the fray. Everybody should know that, like, a real famous time in American history where judges were real dirty all over the place was during the years of the railroad. Okay, and literally these judges were like taking land from people and everything else because the railroad was coming into town. And they even instituted a thing called the Young Doctrine, which allowed the marshals to arrest judges and governors and stuff and things like that. So there's a lot of history of dirty judges in the United States for financial gain. Okay. So I'd like to read these real quick. Treason by a judge. When judges act when they do not have jurisdiction to act, or they enforce a void order, an order issued by a judge without jurisdiction, they become trespassers of the law and are engaged in treason. The U.S. Supreme Court has stated that no state legislator or executive or judicial officer can war against the Constitution without violating his undertaking to support it. Cooper versus Aaron. Any judge who does not comply with his oath to the Constitution in the United States wars against the Constitution and engages in acts in violation of the supreme law of the land. The judge is engaged in acts of treason. If a judge does not fully comply with the Constitution, then his orders are void. This is Sawyer 124 U.S. 200. He or she is without jurisdiction, and he or she has engaged in acts of treason. Whenever a judge acts where he or she does not have jurisdiction to act, the judge is engaged in act or acts of treason. U.S. versus Will, Cohens versus Virginia, so forth and so on. The Supreme Court has also held that if a judge wars against the Constitution or if he acts without jurisdiction, he is engaged in treason to the Constitution. Oh, that's already in there. That's doublespeak. Courts have repeatedly ruled that judges have no immunity for their criminal acts. Since both treason and the interference with interstate commerce are criminal acts, no judge has immunity to engage in such acts. I'd also like to point out they do not have absolute immunity. Their Achilles heel is their administrative duty. Foreclosure is a highly administrative process. You have to check boxes and do certain things, and that's the way it goes. Okay, this next page, what I'm showing you is I live in Norwalk, Connecticut. And this is the legal authority as per the Norwalk Police Department. And if you go down to the bottom there, you'll see 1.12, the oath of office. And it says, prior assuming sworn status, all police personnel shall take and subsequently abide by an oath of office to enforce the law and uphold the Constitution of the United States and faithfully and impartially discharge and perform all duties incumbent upon them as a police officer in the city of Norwalk. The oath of office for sworn members of its agency appears in Appendix A of this directive. And if we can go to the next page. Yes, thank you. I'd like to read. I'm going to swear myself in as a Norwalk police officer. I do solemnly swear that I will bear the true faith and allegiance to the United States of America and the state of Connecticut. I will support the Constitution and the laws thereof, so help me God. I do solemnly swear that I will faithfully and impartially discharge and perform all duties incumbent upon me as a police officer of the city of Norwalk. I hereby accept the office of police officer on the police force of the city of Norwalk and agree to obey and be bound by such rules and regulations as are and may from time to time laid down for the government of the police department of said city. If we can go to the next page. Thank you. I mean, I would have been a nice police officer. If we can go to this next page here, this is just to prove the problems within even the housing court documentation on my house, even to highlight even more that they have no claim. They can't even get, when they're stealing it, they can't even get things straight. On this page, you'll see the defendants. There's 4 defendants there. Okay, it says total number of defendants 4, and we have a Jane Doe and a John Doe. I have 5 in my family. There's 5 of us, and we're all adults, by the way. And some of those people are also tenants. Okay, and by law, all these parties have to be named by name. Okay. If people don't know that, that's Connecticut General Statute. I think it's 9-22. Okay. Now, if we go to this next page, this is a beauty. This just shows how bad these guys are. Okay. So first of all, they passed the title illegally. No money's changed hands. There's been no money that's shown up. So it's seizure. And they filed.
Just stop there for a minute. Explain that process. So let's just say if all of this was legit or whatever, you're supposed to be receiving some money in all of this transaction.
Yeah, in this particular case, what they did is they the sale of the house, I believe, was foreclosure sale was 1.255 million. Just as an aside, the house right next door closed 5 days later. It's smaller on a smaller parcel, closed for 2.5 million. Okay. But wow. There's also tons of stuff that show the value of my home and everything. It's pretty obvious when you see it. It's the anchor house on this point on the water. Mm-hmm. Anyway, when you pass the title, everything's got to be cleaned up. If anyone who's bought a home knows, like, your phone bill's got to be paid, everything's got to check out, so forth and so on. I have UCC liens against this. There's other things that are against this property. There's all kinds of things that have to be cleaned up, and all those things. And as a matter of fact, I filed a motion for equity deficiency. In other words, I need a full explanation of all accounting and everything else. People that hadn't seen earlier podcasts, there is no legal affidavit of debt in my case because the notary is fraudulent. So I've never had there's no affidavit. There's no legal financials.
That's insane.
Nothing. So, but anyway, let's just look at this document here, which is hilarious. Okay, so they passed this title, and they even filed it at town hall. Nothing about it's legal. First of all, they have my wife's name wrong. They have Bridget H. Pritchard. That's not her name. It's Bridget R. Pritchard. That's significant. Why? Because the case in the housing court is up against Bridget R. Pritchard. Okay, mm-hmm. So there's no suit. There's no suit. Like, which is it? H or R? Who is that? It's completely different. That's Bridget Harry Pritchard. I don't know. It's the wrong name. Then on top of that, the most important thing on a title and deed is the property description. The property description for this property is 9 Sylvester Court, Norwalk, Connecticut. Not Connecticut with a zip code, Connecticut. That's the proper, going all the way back in time, description of this property. 9 Sylvester Court, Norwalk doesn't cut it. Just so you know, in the country, there's 8 different places that are 9 Sylvester Court. Okay? And there's other Norwalks too. And it's like, okay, none of this is legal. It's not okay. Bad deed. Go back and fix the deed, gets things straight, whatever. The truth is we got to go back into court because all the other stuff's got to be settled. Dirty Judge Spader just jammed this thing down. He did it with partners. If you go to the next page. Oh, okay. I don't have they people from Carmody Law are the ones that signed off on this. They're all partners that are all part of the racketeering scheme, and they all were the ones.
And you do have documentation on that.
Oh, yes, I do. Everything.
All right.
Okay, so this next page is just setting up to go through a list of things that we can go real quick through so everybody gets a sense of, like, I'm not playing games or anything here. If we go to the following page. Okay, right there. Okay, you can see the value of the house is $3,401,000 pre-foreclosure. That the banks put these up when you're in foreclosure and they put it up on their site. So they discount the house from the value, and then that's the number they put that estimated value. So they have it at 3.4 million. This is City Mortgage Inc. And if you go down a little on that page at the bottom, you'll see the date. The date on that was 9/26/2019. The real estate market, and especially waterfront properties in Norwalk, Connecticut, has gone up considerably since 9/26/19 to now. But I'm just pointing out the value. Now, if we go to this next page, this is my details on my my mortgage to show you that it's paid in full. You see Andrew and Bridget, go down a little more, a little more. Now you see those yellow lines? Can somebody read that to me? Tim, can you read what that says there?
Sir, that says principal balance 0.0, escrow balance 0.0.
Okay. I just want to make sure that I wasn't seeing things. Can we keep going? Can we go further? Okay. So now if we keep going here, I mentioned this before. Go down a little bit more. This is one page. There are two fake, okay, altered notes filed, one in the Superior Court, one in the Appellate Court. Anyway, both of them are stamped without recourse to City Mortgage Inc. If you know anything legally about endorsements, that effectively means that anybody in the world can sue Andy and Bridget except for City Mortgage Inc. And the plaintiff in this case is City Mortgage Inc. Okay.
It just gets better and better. I cannot believe this, man.
Yes. So if we can go to the next one. Okay. This here is a diagram that I put together just to show how my note has been sold over 4 times. Okay. And it's probably been sold a lot more than that. And that actually, so everyone knows, the value from those sales actually is your value and sits in your trust. The bank's stealing all that money, okay? Because they're supposed to be the trustee and fiduciary for you. You're the one that created the note, okay? And you created this piece of paper, and they are supposed to be the safekeeping people and to tell you anything and everything about it and full accounting. They're required to give you full accounting as per the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency, the banking regulators. I have yet to have my full accounting from City Mortgage Inc. I'd love to, because I'm sure there's millions in there. You know, AAA property, underwriting all kinds of derivatives, waterfront, only $200,000 on a $3.5 million asset. Guess what? That's going to pay off, baby. Anyway, what's really interesting about this is 2 of these assignments that are in there that are fraudulent. The document companies themselves, in other words, named on the assignments, I went to them and they both say and gave documentation that the assignments were fraudulent, that there weren't third documents.
Well, that's outstanding.
Yeah. And I'm like, okay, another home run. All right, we're out of court and I'm going to get some bank. Nope. No good.
Right. If you just stop for a moment, stop to think, with all that's been said and disclosed and substantiated here thus far, how is it even remotely possible that things are at this point? And on Monday, August the 29th, they're going to come out for round 2 of the same nonsense. I mean, it just boggles the mind. I'm bewildered here, and that's an understatement.
There's a question up here by Presently Happy, which I love that name, Presently Happy. I am too. So it says,
about the law firm?
What was the law firm that signed off on this eviction? It's supposedly Lovejoy and Reamer, but there's no signature on it. So once again, that's I believe that's
and that goes back to complicit attorney John Hall, correct?
Yes, but there's no signature on this one, so I can't really say John Hall's doing this. See, I think this is coming from the court because they're in big trouble and they're jamming this home. They're just basically being.
They're in denial now. They're living in denial.
They're judicial goons. They're complicit criminals, and it's got to be shut down. Can we go to the next page, please? And these pages will go really quick. Just stop here. If you remember before, I mentioned that there is no legit affidavit of debt because the notary was fraudulent. Just for people that are new to this, I wrote the notary was from Arizona. Quite obviously, everybody's seen in the news, there's many fraudulent notaries and so forth and so on. I wrote the Secretary of State of Arizona, Katie Hobbs, at the time, who's pretty infamous now, I guess, or famous, or whichever side you want to be on. Anyway, I wrote her and explained my situation and story, and I sent her my case. And I was shocked. She wrote a nice letter back and said that she turned it over to the Attorney General for investigation. Now, I could not, there's nothing I could do because I'm a Connecticut guy. And I'm sitting there thinking, my God, they're spending money to look into my case. I mean, that's really quite incredible. Bravo, Arizona. Thank you very much. Anyway, after 3 years, okay, in comes a letter from Secretary of State Hobbs and from the Attorney General for the state of Arizona that says that the notary is fraudulent. And that's what these 4 pages are about, that she's null and void, she's not authorized, and so forth and so on. So if you can kind of go through these pages, those are the official pages. I just wanted it there for proof that it's even outside this state, people are going, this is no good. This is no good.
Failed to record the type of notarization that was performed. Therefore, in failing to record all requisite information, the notary has failed to meet the standards of law, ARS 41-319.
Yes, and I have all that, and you know, that's all in all my. It's obviously I thought this was a home run. We're done. Just got it.
Right.
Hey.
Right.
The lottery tickets really come in. Now they have no affidavit of debt. They have nothing. Nothing. No.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. It's like, what?
Notaries are required to respond to an AGO investigation about their notarial services, ARS 44-331B and 41-313E4. They must also maintain a journal and produce a copy if the Attorney General or member of the public requests it. A certified letter was issued to Ms. Judd at her mailing-home address. She emailed a response letter and journal copy as requested. Because the notary responded in writing and provided a copy of journal as requested, she has met the standards of the law. So there's things that this is all in great detail. What has been met, has been met, what criteria has not been satisfied.
Yes.
Right. Yeah, that's great. It's basically an audit of the process. That's great.
Yeah.
And this is more on that. And here we go.
Okay, so this is once again the let's see here. This is the committee deed. Okay, and you can see in this, you see the price, the movement. You'll see down 1,255,000 was the amount supposedly exchanged, which I've never seen, nor is there any accounting of it. There's nothing anywhere. I've asked for it. Nothing.
Number out of thin air. Poof.
Yeah,
1,255,000. Yeah, that sounds good. Put that one down.
Well, and so I should have before anything happens, I should have a big check.
Exactly. Of at least $1 million, right?
Yes. What's important is you'll also see that it's Stephen Conover, who's a senior partner at Carmody Law, which is also where foreclosure Judge Mintz now is a partner. And if you go to the next page, you'll see that everyone that signed this, okay, all the names here, so you know, are all partners of Carmody Law. So it's one big giant, and they're walking distance from the courthouse too, just to make it easy.
Oh God.
If we keep going to the next page, because I don't want to waste people's time with all this.
No, you're doing great. I think we're plowing right through this stuff. I think we're making great time.
Okay, go to the following page from that. No, go to the next. I'm sorry. These are just, those go together, all that stuff. Okay, right here. This is Lovejoy and Reimers, the attorney who doesn't even know which ends up. And quite honestly, Judge Spader has told him what to do, even to the point that there's proof of that in Judge Spader's orders, because this guy, in doing his work, got confused between which straw man buyer to put down on certain things. And Judge Spader issued orders telling Mr. John Hall, Attorney John Hall, to straighten things out. This is the first eviction notice being set up by Attorney Clerk Garrow, who's named in the counterclaim and is also part of my Capias writ, in other words, arrest without warrant, because he wouldn't turn over certain documents that he's required to as a clerk, and he wouldn't share to me how things went into the Microsoft system that they use, which he's also required to in his administrative duty. This page here, this following page, this is my filing of my federal claim on my property.
Yeah, this is great. Yeah, please spend some time on this. Don't be shy. You can spend a few minutes or however long you would like on any of these presentations.
Okay.
You have a lot of interested audience members. There's a lot of good participation tonight. So before we wrap this up, when we're free and clear and have covered things as thoroughly as you would like, we'll go ahead and take some questions from the audience and stuff, and we'll hit them up as well.
So as I got into this further and further and started learning about the law, because it really started, to be frank, Judge Tierney, the first day I went into court, he asked me to sign some documentation, and I said to him at the time, I said, well, I don't know if I'm giving up any of my rights when I do that. And I said, I don't want to check those boxes. And he said, check the box. He ordered me to check the box. And I go, I do not have to check the box, Your Honor. And then as that further went on, I can't remember all the back and forth. He kept me there the entire day to the very end. Even when I stood up and explained that I had to pick my wife up from work, he said, I don't care, Mr. Pritchard. And he kept me there the entire day. And I'm like, well, we're going to do that. I'm never checking this box. And at the end of the day, his last statement to me, and I never got a transcript of it, was that I am stupid. And he said he said it 2 times as I was walking out of the court. And I went and checked, and I'm like, on what it was, I can't remember. I'm like, oh, this is well within my rights, and I am giving up rights that I don't want to give up. So anyway, because of that, I started looking into deeper things as to protecting my assets. And I basically learned about federal claims, land patents, allodial titles, and things of that sort. So I formally filed a federal claim because I have the complete history and chain all the way back to the purchase of my land from the Indians, which is all clean titles going back. So in filing my federal claim, I basically sit on sovereign land, if you will. And basically, to let you know, if you really study grantor deeds and allodial titles and land patents, they can't do a thing. You are sovereign. You are a king. And just to sort of put this in perspective, I don't think it was until around the Civil War. Around the Civil War, they started to get away from grantor deeds and went into warranty deeds. And if you read warranty deeds, you don't have the same power. You basically become a tenant. You'll see tenants used all the time. So it's not, you're not in the same position. You start to become, you've probably heard talk about all this stuff, part of a corporation, so forth and so on.
The judge is in on it, Smokerman 101. The judge is absolutely in on it. In fact, there are a number of judges that you were seeking recourse against.
17.
Actions against.
I'm up against 17 judges. And I'm demanding my trial by jury, and I have a petition of 200 people demanding my trial by jury, and it's my right, constitutional right.
Make that 201. In fact, we're going to start a petition here on Tyrant Slayer Studios on the community page. Sure. We're going to start a petition for Andrew, and if you would be interested in signing in support of a trial by jury for Andrew Pritchard, we'll go ahead and collect your signatures on the community page. I'm sure his family and Andrew and his family would sincerely appreciate it, and I would as well.
Anyway, if you take a look at this, you'll see my name. My official name is Andrew Hamilton Pritchard. Okay. I'm the beneficiary in equity of equity of this property, and this is my land. Nobody else can touch it. As a matter of fact, this type of title is so strong that, like, I mean, this would be a corrupt thing to do, but and I would never suggest it. You could borrow millions of dollars versus this land and never pay it back and say to somebody, get off this land. It's too bad. Get out of here. And they have no standing. In reality, if you look into the history of this and everything else, the Fairfield County militia should be here to defend my land.
Right.
So that's the Army Reserves here and the National Guard or whatever. The police department, with their sworn oath to the U.S. Constitution and to the Connecticut State Constitution, has to defend my land. Otherwise, they've breached and have lost all authority because they've broken their oath and duty.
They violate their oath, right?
Yes. Anyway, if we can go to the following page, this is another part of it. Oh, just for those who've had questions about different things and just wanted to take care of and give some more proof, this gets really wild. Now, if you remember, I said to you that there's a big trust at the bank, okay, that is your trust, it is your account. And only the bank, they don't let you look at it. But there's money going in and out of that thing. And there's huge money because they've securitized your note and they've sold it off a couple of times and all kinds of things. All that money actually sits in your account. And those bastards steal it, okay? They use it. They borrow from it. They do all kinds of things, okay? Now, this is from the servicer on my note, which supposedly I don't own anymore, correct? Or whatever. I'm no longer an owner and everything. Okay. They paid my taxes on 7/14/22. Okay. So in July, my taxes have been paid. I've paid my taxes. Okay. Go to the next page. Supposedly, and it was December 21 where I lost ownership of my house. I was no longer the owner. Yet I am also buying insurance as of March 22nd. I think it was. If you go up
up there on the top. Yeah, March 2nd.
March 2nd, 2022. So I have full insurance and everything for the year. And by the way, this is not cheap, guys. This is like $14,000 because I'm waterfront property and everything else, right? It's big storm, superstorm Sandy. Now, here's my escrow account as to all my history of payments. Okay, if you keep going down, go down. You'll see taxes paid and the dates paid, and keep going because I want to show you something that's going to blow your mind. Okay, keep going. Now this is account projections. Stop there, and you'll see July 22, a payment of $15,870.55. That's the payment that they made. I'm waiting to get the documentation. It takes a long time for them to give me the documentation now, because it's got to go through this long legal shuffle and everything else because of all the stuff going on. But if you go down a little further, this gets really interesting. Okay, keep going. Okay, now go a little more. Keep going. Yeah, keep going. You see the word surplus there? Whoa. See that word surplus? And you see Andrew and Bridget Pritchard, 9 Sylvester Court, Norwalk, Connecticut. Surplus amount, $9,519.72. I have surplus of money in an account that's in default and underwater. Okay, so what's happened here is this little piece slipped through where you're getting the actual accounting of my account. Okay, but they won't share, and it's illegal. They have to, but the OCC and some of these guys that are there at the OCC, they work with the banks. See,
what a damning piece of information.
If they piss off the banks, right? They don't get that fancy high-paying job when they leave the OCC. Let's understand how it all works, right? You know, you make 100, 150 in your government job, but you do the right thing by these banks, guess what? Signing bonus, $500,000, and sit down and play some golf. Come to the club. Oh, you're the guy. You're the man. Cool, right? Nothing, especially when the millions. Now, why don't we go all the way to the bottom? Okay, this is my no trespassing sign that for my property, which I've put up and also expressed to people. And the reason I wanted to let you know that, or read this, in the very bottom paragraph, and this is important for State Marshal Kemp, this is what I said to him. I didn't read this whole piece. I just said he could reach me by certified mail. I said, if you need to provide any notice to the owner, the mailing address is available from the county assessor's office. Any such notice must be mailed by U.S. mail, postage prepaid, certified return receipt requested. That's how you are supposed to contact me, Mr. Peace Officer State Marshal, to drop anything. Now,
I hope that's been made clear, Mr. Marshal.
So this is what's happened, and this is why I'm here right now. At around 9:30 today, the State Marshal with another State Marshal, State Marshal Bill Kemp, showed up at my house and just threw a paper that you saw on the front at the very beginning, the notice that they're going to come and run me over, okay, and evict me from my house on Monday at 9 a.m. This violates all kinds of procedures as to eviction. Now, what's really amazing is they did this on May 31st. They had the eviction on May 31st, and they couldn't do the eviction because they weren't even compliant in any of their eviction statutes, rules, and everything else.
That's right. Let me just stop you right there for a second. I'm going to go ahead and get the link to that video. We have the full-length video of that incident that occurred on May 31st. We have a short that has gone absolutely viral. It's gotten over 300,000 views. Please watch the full-length version of the situation. Get your head around it. We've since done 2 updates. This will be the 3rd. We've provided links to the case files. You've been very thorough this evening. I think we've got a lot out there for you guys to really understand, especially the legal minds in this community. I mean, there are some very intelligent people in this community, and I'm pleased to see a lot of intelligent people in the comment section this evening. We're going to get to you guys soon. Don't worry. I see the questions. We're going to get to them, but we're going to let Andrew take all the time he needs to properly articulate what's happening, why, how things are have gotten to where they are, and what he anticipates on Monday. You know, this is a very serious situation. It's very burdensome. It's very taxing on the mind, body, and spirit. And we're going to give Andrew all the time he needs and anything we can to help him during this difficult time.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I mean, really, thank you. What I'm really here to tell everyone, okay, yes, I personally need your help. I need as many people as possible to be here Monday before 9 a.m. to stand with me against this seizure. This is a seizure. Nothing about it is legal. Now, so you understand, in this case, because of all these things and more, there's more, I am arresting without warrant, because I can't get a warrant. I am arresting 17 judges because the entire racketeering scheme has revealed itself through my case and all kinds of other cases that have come to me, which I must have somewhere in the neighborhood of around 25 to 30 affidavits of different cases. And some, there are more that are coming. These guys and the attorneys involved, McCullough, Raymer, Lieber, Pierce, Liebert, whatever, they're like the largest foreclosure mill. And to really understand the history of what they do, if you really get into the technical stuff of it, they have controlled every part, even the documentation process through a thing called Promise Solutions. There's all kinds of dirty things interstate. It's very sophisticated in what they've done. Now, they bought and paid for all these politicians. In the state of Connecticut, we have a committee known as the bench, meaning the judicial bench, and the bar committee. So guess what this committee does? They make up all the laws and rules, and they get together to decide things. So think about this. The judges get together with the foreclosure mills, okay? One of the guys that's the top guys in terms of foreclosure, okay, works for McCullough Raymer. His name's Jeffrey Mill. He's written the book on foreclosure law, if you will, and how to interpret things. And it's like he's completely slanted and twisted, and he comes in as the expert. He has broken, there's constitutionally none of this is legit. I don't want to get into deep technicals, but basically the minute your note is securitized, you have no obligation. The contract's broken. Okay, it's done. The minute they securitize it, the contract's over. We can get into that argument and debate. I don't need to in my case because every which way it's been proven. My note's been paid in full several times by even the sales of the transactions. The thing is what I'm trying to get to is my case, and because of standing up to these people and not backing down, they are really hot because I go all the way to the retired Supreme Court Justice Rogers, who helped set up this smelly thing. Now, my most recent contact and judge, so you know, is a gentleman named Judge Spader. Now, Judge Spader, just so you know, was also, I think, I forget what it's called, but he was basically the chairman or head committee guy for all the police departments in Connecticut.
Dual office, to say the least.
And he also, this is one of my favorites because I've seen the documentation. He also was part of a foreclosure mill, and he had I don't know, somewhere like 1,000 cases or something with this foreclosure mill. The minute he became a judge, he ruled on all his foreclosure cases. And guess who won those? You're like, nobody can do this. A little bit
only
more.
In Connecticut, ladies and gentlemen. Only in Connecticut.
By the way, Connecticut, there was a study done by Princeton University on evictions. This is both rental and foreclosures, covering the whole country. Out of the top 5 cities, 4 of them were in Connecticut. 4.
Oh, right. We covered that, right?
4 out of the 5. Okay. By the way, no pro se litigant has won a foreclosure case. I believe, I have not seen one. There's won a foreclosure case in Connecticut.
No bias or discrimination there.
And also, during 2008 and 2009, every expert speaking before the Senate said that there is so much fraud and so much damage and stuff here that it will be years and years and years and years before this is cleaned up. One of the worst participants was City Mortgage Inc. They were so bad that they kept doing it to the point where they were shut down. They don't do the same mortgage business they once did. They were just cease and desist by the Federal Reserve. Okay? And my documents, as a matter of fact, fall right in that period and everything else. Yet, nothing. So here's where we are. The way the judicial system is set up in Connecticut is it's a criminal enterprise where if you go to the Judicial Review Committee, you're taken before other judges. Those judges are buddies with the other judges, and they basically just look the other way. If you go to the bar with a complaint against an attorney who's got litigation privilege, and especially this state, he can lie freely. He can lie freely and nothing happens to him. I have several motions for contempt that are just blatant lies, a blatant lie before the appellate court, just straight up lie. I have the documentation, can prove it, and it's amazing. And it's on a motion to compel by another judge. And the guy didn't turn over material till a year later. And guess what? The material he turned over proved my case again. It's unreal. Anyway, the only check on all this stuff is we the people. And where everybody's saying, get an attorney, you have to understand these attorneys play in that game. They will
Mm-hmm.
never go after a judge or they're
Mm-hmm.
ruined.
They're the last people you want to disclose this to.
Never.
They're going to go and actually try to. They could hurt your case. Going to these sources could actually hurt you in the long run.
Yes,
Long run.
I've witnessed firsthand, especially these pro bono attorneys. Oh my gosh. I've watched them sell people down the river, and the worst part is watching the person thank them. And it's like, no, they don't have title, and that's invalid. It's fraud. And I even run outside and tell these people, I'm like, do you understand that they're stealing your home? It's your home. And they're just like, oh, no. Are you an attorney? And I go, no, but if you can give me some time, I'd love to explain it to you. Anyway, I need your help for anybody who could possibly be here. I would really, really appreciate it. If you can't, please send this information around. I am standing my ground here because of my boys and my family. If we do not have the ability to protect this house in this situation, nobody's house is safe. No one's. And your property is your freedom. It's what enables you to be completely independent. And I want to stay within the law. And I believe that God is with me on this. And I really appreciate your time in hearing me out. So this Monday, come down and meet me and so watch the show if you want. And I'm hoping that the Norwalk Police Department does the right thing.
Again.
Well, yes, and for the most part, it would basically.
Right. They were kicking and screaming the whole way.
There was a very interesting thing occurred. If I could explain, just share a little bit on that real quick. The younger police officers, when they saw the documentation and everything that I presented, they were like totally in my camp. The senior officer who was in charge of what was that came, he left the office, if you will, he basically said, no, this is a court order. We're doing it. Let him go. It's court order. It's like, no. And everyone should also know in these cases, I have open orders before the court requiring hearings, orders from judges, and yet they issued this Spader guy has issued a final judgment. I mean, these things are it's insanity. It's insanity.
There you are there.
Yeah, that marshal on the right there, he's supposed to be wearing his badge. He also has a gun under that shirt. That's illegal. He's a peace officer. He's not allowed to have a gun. I filed an arrest for him. He's an outside contractor and especially have a concealed weapon. The police have yet to tell me whether they have arrested him or not. I know exactly where he lives. I gave him his address and everything else.
We'll FOIA their investigation ultimately once that is adjudicated or whatever happens with it. Once all the dust settles, we will FOIA request the information on the investigation into this man's illegal activities. That's for sure.
There was a question up there just that I might answer.
Right. Yeah. Let's get to some of the questions here. There's a number of questions. I kind of want to start at the top.
Well, let me. There was one that I just wanted to answer real quick because it's kind of interesting. There was somebody that asked, did you get a mortgage to refinance, or why didn't you get a mortgage to refinance? What started all this stuff was I actually was writing out a loan against the house to help fund a business and was going to pay off the mortgage. And that everything went fine with that. It was for around $950,000. And I was closing, and all of a sudden they said, no, we're not closing. And I go, why? Because they go, you have no money in your checking account. You claimed you had, $10,000 or $13,000. And I go, what do you mean I don't have it? The money's in there. No, the bank took out multiple automatic payments. Now keep in mind, they did this after I called them to get the payoff on my note. And I said, I want to know who owns my note so I can pay off the right thing. And so next thing you know, that snafu'd. And then I went back to the bank and I said, you guys just ruined a loan that I had to pay, some money into and everything that to get all the approvals and all that stuff. And I said, you got to get this all straight. We're coming into the holidays. Then during the holidays, because it was Thanksgiving into Christmas, they did it again. And then in January, when I went to get it all straightened out and everything else, they up and did it again. So where they were supposed to take out $30,000, they took out $60,000.
You folks listening to this?
And
this is insanity.
And basically, so I was current on April 18th. I'm current. On May 4th, they served me with foreclosure papers. They start the foreclosure process. I'm like, what? What is going on? So then I finally say, that's it. Yeah, I want to know who owns and everything else. And that's when I started my journey. So I just wanted to share that. Yeah, that's it.
So here we have my two beagles. Why is he being evicted? Some people are just joining. They're just,
sure.
Getting on board.
Yeah, it's a fraudulent foreclosure is the reason for the eviction.
Smoker Man 101. Sad that the judge is going against the Constitution in Connecticut, the Constitution
state.
State.
Yeah, that's my favorite. They branded this place the Constitution State, and it really should be called Corrupticut. And I didn't come up with that name. The Hartford Courant did, I think.
Lady Zaga. That's what happened in 2008 with the robot signatures, robo-signing.
Yeah, the robo-signers is still there. Nothing changed. What? Just so you know, actually, to give you a little insight as to really what happened with the settlement, I'm not exact on these numbers, but I'll play it out for you. I think the settlement on the mortgage crisis was $28 billion. I believe in the neighborhood of 18 billion of that was restructured foreclosures. Well, what you need to know is all those notes that were in default, they had to write them off anyway because they were securitized. So if you haven't paid in 3 months, it has to be written off as per Internal Revenue Code 860. Otherwise, the whole REIT goes under. So they write it off against the gains. They extinguish what's known as extinguish the note. The note is null, poof, it's no more. That's why the minute your stuff's securitized, they can never bring a foreclosure action. In reality, they can never bring a foreclosure action against you. So understand that and this is the game that these politicians and the bankers and everybody play. Of the $28 billion, 17 to 18 billion dollars of that was stuff they were going to do anyway, and there was no cash involved. All right. So now we're really down to let's say $10 billion. And then of that, there was $3 billion that gets taken away. I think the actual cash outlay by the banks was maybe $7 billion across all 50 states. And it didn't all go to the states. It went to and guess what? Here's the part that everybody misses about all this stuff. Do you know who got nothing? The homeowners. The homeowners didn't get anything. The people screwed. The guys on the investors on one side and the banks on the other. And the guys who really is the American public, they got nothing. There's no stories in Connecticut about anyone getting a mortgage paid off because it was there's none of that. They took all the money and put it into the bureaucracy and paid them off. It's
unfunded pension liabilities for the police union or the state's double dipping.
It makes your head go boom.
Spader was asked for receipts of another sale, and they say, quote, "It was private and would not provide." That's Presently Happy, who seems to be in your corner very much. Yes, Presently Happy. I just tweeted this session. Great session. God bless and pray you win, because Connecticut is being robbed by the black-robed.
Yes. But here, let me also say something to this, just so it goes beyond this. The judicial in the state of Connecticut is seriously corrupt. Stamford, Connecticut is where a big chunk of these heavy hitters live, in that there's big money, Fairfield County. Okay. Now, these same judges also really, I mean, family court, probate. I mean, it's sick. But um, the best way to take these guys down is through the Administrative Procedures Act, if you will. Get them on this technical stuff. Once you start taking them down on that, everything else will tumble, because it's going to reveal it all. And this is they are weaponizing the judicial against me on Monday. If you want some entertainment, there's a 1-minute video on YouTube of Connecticut State Marshal Bill Kemp chewing a guy out and illegally filing stuff, saying he's to transfer papers to the court or whatever that he did.
We could put that video up if you want to spend some time on Bill Kemp. We could put that video up and contrast that situation to that of yours.
Sure. Can you throw it up right now? It takes 1 minute.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I'll go ahead and get that up.
So just so you know, on the 17th or 18th, I get a phone call from Marshal Kemp, and I go, "I've heard of you, sir." And I talk, "I'm sorry, prep school boy, I do that. That's how I speak to people." And I said, "You have quite a reputation." And then he goes, "What? You find some of the police reports or something?" And I go, "Well, yeah, I've seen that. And he did. Well, I don't want to eBay.
Oh, hold on. It could be something on my end.
Yeah.
Oh, it's because I opened up this and I'm sharing my system audio, so hang on.
Play that.
All right. You might want to kill your speakers while we do this. Or wait, I'll just mute you, so just hang on.
Yeah, okay, Kyle, what?
Bill, when I talked to you this morning, I said I don't know if I want to serve her with my paperwork or if I want to pick her.
Guess what? You did this behind my back. You could have gave them to me. Now you're screwing me. All right?
How am I screwing you? I don't understand.
Get paperwork done. Next thing I know, she's calling me up. You're serving her with papers? You could have called me, dude. Don't make me look like an asshole.
I called you this morning, and I called you this morning, and I told you I got my papers. I called you this morning, and I told you that I got.
What? I don't care no more. All right? My paperwork goes into the fucking courthouse. You can throw that shit away. I don't give a fuck.
You're gonna fucking lie and say that you served me. You're gonna lie and say you served me.
I don't fucking care. All right? I don't care.
That's our state marshal, folks.
You all the fucking time. I talk to you.
I'm calling the fucking state marshals.
Wow. Wow.
So let me turn this down.
Oh, sorry. Hold on.
Oh, wow. Cool. So I'm going to send an aircraft carrier and take out Bill Kemp. Then I'm going to put his head in this little gizmo here. Oh,
There
here
we
I
go.
am.
That's better.
So Mr. Kemp.
That is State Marshal, Connecticut State Marshal Bill Kemp, William Kemp.
Independent contractor, not a state employee, Kemp.
But paid nonetheless by our money, right?
Well, yeah. Well, they take it out of the fees from taking a chunk out of you or me or whatever, right? He basically, with that kind of tone and manner, spoke to me on the 17th and 18th and let me know that he was coming hard and heavy, and that's where I said, "Well, if you step on my property, you're trespassing." And then today, he and the other one.
I can't wait to meet him, ladies and gentlemen.
And I wanted to get his license plate number. I went outside, and he wanted to back over me when I was trying to read his license plate number, and that was.
Do you have this on film?
No, I don't. It just happened, and I don't record these phone calls. I'm not that guy, and I'm not. There's no need to get cute with anything because quite honestly, there's no gray. There's no gray.
Right.
This
This is very clear.
This is-
clearly in your favor.
no, but
And these people are in
it
denial.
just shows all. You can't imagine. We have thousands of examples. Somebody was talking about robo-signers. There's a thing called the Emergency Mortgage Assistance Program. 90 days prior to foreclosure, you have to be sent a letter. It's a federal program that came out of the Saving Families Home Act of 2009, called Emergency Mortgage Assistance Program. That letter has to be received, and it has to have proof of receipt before you can start a foreclosure action. Almost everything in the state of Connecticut, that letter was not sent. Okay, so what the foreclosure mills have done and everything else is they've created fraudulent documents as to that. And as a matter of fact, if you go into the database, there's just thousands upon thousands. There's fraudulent signatures here and there, left and right, and the judges don't even care. So to put it in simple terms, basically any judge who's doing foreclosure, prior to the foreclosure complaint, or at least the same day, you should see what's known as an affidavit of EMAP, which stands for Emergency Mortgage Assistance Program. Any foreclosure that has an affidavit of EMAP after that date of the complaint should be an instant red flag to the judge to say, wait a minute, let me check this EMAP out carefully. And then if you don't see a postage timestamp, which proves the mailing and everything, it's out. I mean, this is mail fraud at the highest level. They've done things where they've made up stuff with all kinds. And I know the technical stuff. I'm a geeky, whatever. If anybody knows stuff about mail, I know about 9,000 companies, batches, the numbers, 9,000, 1, 2, 3, the 9, it says that you're part of the qualified batch 9,000 service. You meet the mark in all the audits. The next two numbers say which one of you are. Things like that. I know all that stuff. Mm-hmm. These guys, is just truly unbelievable what they've been doing. It's unbelievable. It's sad. It's very sad. Mm-hmm. I have case after case. I have things in front of me. There's some people, and there's nothing I can do. They've already been slammed.
So these firms and judges specialize in repossessing houses. Marcia Simpson James. Well, it would certainly appear that way. Evidently, yes. Evidently, yes.
I think it's the main, if I'm to say in terms of the criminal enterprise, I believe that this is the one of the main hubs, and this is speculation, in terms of cleaning dollars. This is a great way to clean dollars in terms of big dollars, transactions, sales, resales, where there's not even cash. Like in my house situation, there has been no cash that's moved. There's no cash. There's no accounting. I think a check's been handed over. It's kind of like, you know what, Tim, just for everything that you did tonight for me, I'm going to write you a check for $1 million, okay? And then, just hold on to it. Don't cash it. Just hold on to it. But we exchanged $1 million. It's like,
right.
Come on.
Right.
Come on. There's no accounts. You would think the court would want to brag about, show the accounting, the full accounting. Let's see it. Where is
Presently happy in your corner again. Read the affidavit of Todd Walker. Your mortgage was paid the day you signed the promissory note, and actually the day you signed the application. This mortgage was paid 36 plus times over.
Yeah, he's right. He's right. But
who has the oversight of these unscrupulous judges? Marcia Simpson James.
We, the people.
Mm-hmm.
The governor, our crooked governor is not going to do anything. None of these crooked guys. None of the politicians. No one. This is
somebody actually said sheriffs. I don't think a lot of our viewers know that Connecticut doesn't have sheriffs anymore. The sheriffs were disbanded in the year 2000 under our corrupt governor, Governor Rowland at the time.
Governor
John
Rowland with his buddies and everything, did a nice little move, making it out as if the sheriffs are very expensive and everything, and that we can do away with them. So Section 25 of the Connecticut Constitution in November 2000, you can look it up, they were eliminated. So the state of Connecticut does not have sheriffs. I think we're one of 3 states. I think Alaska doesn't have sheriffs. They have something else. And Hawaii, I'm not quite sure. But what's interesting is there's another side to that. All the power, remember, the power comes from, and this is just for me, but it comes from God to us, the people. So, okay, if you're somebody that doesn't believe in God, it comes from us, the people. And we give the authority to all the administrators and everything else. So we gave the power to the sheriff to be a sheriff. So when they did away with sheriffs, where did all that power go? Guess what? It comes back to us. That's abdicated back to us. It doesn't go to somebody else. No. That's our power. So all you guys go get your cap guns, put your cowboy boots on and everything else. You're a sheriff now. Every one of us is a sheriff. That should give you a sense of the power that we have as people. We can say, no, this is wrong.
Sam Magliari, Kemp was charged with illegal restraint. He's talking about the state marshal, well, the private contractor masquerading as a state marshal, trying to run people over, threatening them, stomping all over their rights, their due process. Here we have it. Charged with illegal restraint. Gee, I wonder if he's going to try to illegally restrain anyone on Monday. What a big mistake that would be. Let's hope we can keep the peace and utilize our laws.
I want as many people as I possibly can. If I can buy everyone donuts, if I get a chance to get out and get everybody donuts, I promise I get you a donut. I don't think I'll have time for any of that.
I don't think you're going to have to offer anyone donuts. I think anyone with a heart and 2 brain cells to rub together in the local area that could be supportive, I think is going to come out and support you. I know I'm going to be there. I know there's going to be a great many people there, even more than last time, than the first incident when this happened.
Yes.
I'm very interested in what Norwalk police have to say about this and what their response is going to be. And what I'm hoping to see, and I think everyone could agree, is Norwalk just nip it in the bud before it even gets to the point where it got last time and turning into a 45 or 2-hour long fiasco, right, clogging up the roadway and everything.
And they should. They should, without a doubt, because just on their police report that they filed, there's been absolutely nothing that has changed.
Right. So, right. Nothing's been cured. All of the documentation is still illegitimate.
Nothing. So, and to that point, that demonstrates the harassment, the weaponization. I mean, my family's in tears over this. This is not who we are. And I'm quite honestly, I'm not a social media guy. I don't have LinkedIn. I don't have Facebook. I don't have Twitter. I don't have Instagram. I'm an old fart. I mean, this is not my deal, man. I mean,
right.
I read books, or not books. My wife does all the reading of the books. I read constantly throughout the day, current event things and so forth and so on, because of different things I'm working on. But that's where we are, and I really would appreciate any of you that can come. Friends for life, and God bless you. And if you can put me in your prayers, because that really gives me some muscle. That makes me feel good. I actually have some people that I got a phone call that on Sunday night, right now, they're talking about coming here on Sunday night at 6:30 to have a prayer. And I'm obviously on the back of my house. So that's just to mention that, if there's anybody that's interested in that.
Peter W., the removal of sheriffs is a big red flag. It makes corruption easier without the sheriff.
Yeah, no, we can't arrest governors and we can't arrest judges, or they're the guys that we're supposed to go to do that. Now, that's the funny part again. That power came back to us. Hey, Ed Lamont, you're under arrest. Why? Because you did this felony and this felony. I witnessed it firsthand. which if you go see CGS 54-170, you have that power to arrest them. And then Governor Lamont and you are to be put before a judge as soon as possible to decide whether that person should be locked up or not, or whatever, or we're going to have a hearing on it. That's what's supposed to happen. Now, in my case, with all the other judges, the minute I get before a judge, because I've already been in front of one judge on this, I want to have a grand jury of my peers instead because of the judicial bias.
Here's a great question. I think it's a great question. I'd like an answer to this. Can we force the Connecticut government, and that word can be interpreted more than one way. I don't think he means physically. Can we force the Connecticut government to reinstate the sheriff's department? How would one actually go about reinstating sheriffs and then having an election to become sheriff? This is something I'm very interested in. I'd love to become a constitutional sheriff and arrest our governor one day, and perhaps some judges.
I believe, actually, you can get a group of people together to vote a person to have the authority of being a sheriff here in the state of Connecticut. It's kind of like,
really?
I'm not an expert in this and I haven't looked deep enough into it, but it's kind of like the same thing in terms of in the state of Connecticut and in other states, you can form a posse to execute something legally. So you can get a group of people to say, you know, this, and you're under arrest.
Right.
And this goes back in our history, but
usually a sheriff would head up that posse,
yeah.
Or it would be a posse of sheriffs.
Yes. But the point is,
like the Young Guns.
But in reality, really, the power, they abdicated that power back to us. They didn't think this through when they did.
No, they didn't. No. They were thinking about the money that they're after. They were thinking about all the properties that they were planning on foreclosing
I would even argue that maybe they were worried about a lot of corrupt stuff that they were doing, and maybe there was a sheriff or two that was kind of saying, "Hey, you can't do this. You can't do this." And they said, "You know what? We need to take out Billy Bob, the sheriff. So let's get rid of all sheriffs."
Yeah, we need to check out all this stuff about being, sworn in as sheriff and forming a posse, all that stuff. I think it'd be a fascinating show. Maybe we can get together and do that sometime. Once the dust settles and we can get some stress off your plate and get your family where it needs to be in peace and in security, within your own home and on your own property. I think you guys deserve that more than anything. And once yeah, there'll be time.
It's nobody else's. I don't know what these guys are thinking. I'm just like, you guys, this is unbelievable. This is equity. No statute of limitations on this, baby. See the Native American Indians. Okay? My land was purchased from the Native American Indians. All right? By Ludlow.
I think this is a pretty good speculation. The governor would sick the state police on the people if they formed a posse. They would be labeled a terrorist group. And I think corporate media would be all too happy to echo that false narrative that I presume would actually be put out there should something as peaceful as it could be form itself, should a group of people form a posse and try to elect a sheriff?
Juries can be formed just by peers too, and I don't know enough about that.
Yeah, these are things that we're definitely going to look into here on Tyrant Slayer Studios going forward. But first and foremost, we have to take care of our own. Everything starts at home. So we're going to be protecting Andrew and his home best we can, try to insulate him and give him all of the resources he needs, all of the friends, all of the support he needs. To try to get him over this big hump and expose the corrupt iron fist that's coming down upon him and his family, trying to squeeze him out of his own home. It's sheer judicial corruption. It's
Misconduct.
It's racketeering. It's bank fraud, securities fraud, wire fraud. It's everything wrong with government all throughout the histories of government, all at once befalling Andrew and his family. It's just a terrible set of very egregious circumstance, and our prayers are certainly going to be with you. I can't emphasize enough. when I tried to implore my audience to pray for you. Please come out and join us on Monday. There is someone out from, I think it was Westbrook, interested. This is Monday, August the 29th.
Yes, 9 a.m. is when they're arriving here. I'd really like people to, shoot for 8:30 and stuff.
Yeah,
to be
and this is at 9 Sylvester Court, correct?
Yes, it sits right down on the water. So it's a really nice, pretty setting. I know if you're taking time off, it's quite extraordinary.
Oh, look, there's a shot that was taken right in our capital city of Hartford. That's Mullen Labe. She'll be here. She says she's going to try to make it Monday. Presently Happy said he'll try to bring donuts.
Yeah.
If he turns up, yeah, he'll try to bring some donuts. Bill O'Wrights, thanks for coming out. That's a nice familiar face. Let's see, we've got Bill O'Wrights here.
Oh, I might make this stuff, this social stuff.
How did you purchase tribal lands from a binding government contract?
Oh, I didn't purchase them. Ludlow, I forget, way back in, I don't know. Oh my gosh, it's embarrassing. I drive by the statue every day. It's like,
well, you've got a lot on your plate.
1700 or 16 something. He purchased the land from the Native American Indians down here, which is part of the point that I'm on. And then from there, it was passed through to different, actually some war heroes in the Revolutionary War. And from there, it's Connecticut, Constitution State.
Mm-hmm.
But what's interesting about that is it is land that there's no claim the Native Americans can make against it. Where there is other land within Connecticut that I think is in some dispute.
Interesting. Peter W. says, bring bear spray. Well, we're going to... I mean, maybe that's a possibility. We can't discount the idea that somebody might actually do that. But, the modus operandi, the objective is to keep the peace, to encourage our local law enforcement to protect this man's rights and his property, and swiftly escort these tyrants the hell off of his block and as far away from his house as possible. We want to nip this right in the bud. We don't want a violent confrontation. We don't want some unhinged, crazy, tyrannical, dictatorial megalomaniac playing state marshal coming back and through the driveway and running a group of people over.
No,
we certainly don't want that.
They want they've tried earlier in this case to make me out as
a loose cannon of
sorts. Loose cannon, that kind of fell on him.
He might have guns in there. Maybe we should come armed and flashbang him out and gas him out. Yeah.
I had a judge write some stuff and how they had to get a marshal, and he wrote this ridiculous order, and I wrote back with an affidavit and stuff that I'm a lover, not a fighter, and it really made fun of the whole order all the way through.
And a copy of the old Woodstock album, picture of some flowered children.
I said, I'm more interested in a hug than a punch, okay?
There you go. So, yeah, we've got bright minds. We've got some great people that are going to help support you and be around you best we can. I think we're going to leave it at that this evening. I think you've done a fine job presenting to the people this situation. We can skim through these comment sections one quick more time.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, we will be live.
This is so important. I need to do a big shout out here at the end, so you guys don't think I remember you. Americans Against Foreclosure, AAF. You guys, thank you. Thank you for everything. And I look forward to further communication with Americans Against Foreclosure. There are some incredibly bright minds in this group, and many of them ex-bankers who were doing everything to try to keep people in their homes at the big banks and literally got run out of town. Right?
Wow, sounds like we could get behind them for sure.
They are the real deal, and they know all the dirty secrets and all the stuff. It's anyway, Americans Against Foreclosure. Anyway, that's it. I had to do that.
Sam Agliari, a shout out to Sam Agliari. He's a whistleblower here in the
Yep.
state of Connecticut, a former city engineer being targeted for blowing the whistle on corrupt city officials and various entities throughout the state. Our prayers are with Andy and his family. God bless you with this, with his powers and miracles we still have yet to see.
Yes.
That's right. Sam, I hope to see you Monday. I will be there. Yes. Somebody asked if we will be live streaming this event. I will be live streaming this event. I will also be static recording this event. There will be multiple cameras recording and possibly streaming this event. We're going to be there in full support of Andy and his family, 100%. And hopefully we can disclose to the public a peaceful resolution to the ordeal being fired across the bow at Andy and his family come Monday. That's August the 29th, approximately 9 a.m. at 9 Sylvester Court in Norwalk, Connecticut. If you are a Connecticut resident and you are concerned about this or you can relate in your life experience, please come out and show Andy and his family some support. There's even talk of donuts out there. So, we can have a nice little party and see peaceful resolution to these terrible, egregious problems. Andy, I'm going to give you the floor. You can say goodnight any which way you would like, and we'll end it there, sir.
No, thank you. And God bless America. And I love all of you all of you. I really, really appreciate that. Appreciate this time, and thank you, Tim.
You're welcome, Andy. Good night, everyone. Thank you.
Good night.